Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon. Great to have y'all all here. Yeah, we're streaming again today, a day early than normal, but we will be we'll be updating the duck a little bit more because we kind of rushed through it during our last live stream because it was like 1 in the morning or something. I was ready to go to bed, and then we're going to work on making some platforms that you can jump through the bottom of. That's essential for level 2, and I haven't made that feature yet. It's not that hard, so it makes sense to do during a live stream compared to doing like Boss AI or something like that, you know. So that's the plan for today. How's everyone doing today? You having a good day? Yeah, it's only 10:30 here, so. All right, yeah. So yeah, we have a few new things in the level right now. We updated the fencing a little bit more. We have some ramps in here. You know, we made them to look like the wood ramps that you would have when, like in the late 90s, early 2000s when kids had bikes and stuff and would do that. So that's pretty cool. Hello, artist. Hello. Yeah, I'm good. I'm always doing well. Ready to get some more done on this. Level 2 is not the hardest thing to implement once level 1 is done, and so that's why it's a lot easier to kind of do this on stream. There's some stuff I still probably won't do on stream, like the pushable objects, like this getting pushed over. We can also do a little bit of set dressing because I have some plans for that. But yeah. I did update the grass. You can see it really well from above, but from below, whoops, you can like kind of tell. But the path that the lawnmower takes is shorter, so that you know if you're gonna get hit by it or not. It's pretty minimal difference, but it does help a bit. Oh yeah. So, okay. I've only played the PS1 version of the game, / the PS4, PS5 version too. You're about to call it a night? Well, thank you for hanging out. But yeah, so first off, I think we should update the duck. I think that'll be a little bit easier. Yeah, thank you. It wasn't that hard. The thing is, like, the easiest way to do it is I can't really make it like shorten the grass automatically, and so what I had to do is I had to grab this spline path, which is the path that the lawnmower takes, raise it up to where I could see it basically, and then I had to erase the grass that was here, the foliage, and then re-add it but at a shorter height. It also has to be more dense because of the fact that it is shorter. Yeah, basically they need to be closer together because they are thinner. That's how that works. So yeah, all right. We're gonna start on the duck though because we gotta do a few things. We're gonna make it flat. Apparently, it starts out flat, as I was told in the original game. I'll look up a video of that to be real quick to make sure. But if that's the case, then I'm gonna start it flat and then I'll grow it to where it goes. And then we're also going to spawn this trigger box once the duck actually appears, and we're going to attach it to the duck. That way, like as it bobs and moves, the ground pound will be there too. Because right now, if we go to it, it's going to go in the middle. Whoop. Hold on. We're going to update. Y'all can't see this probably, but set visibility, set the quality settings to high instead of epic, because the glow effect that's being left around Buzz is more obvious on epic graphics for some reason. That's something I'm actually working on right now, is getting this like glow that follows Buzz as he walks around and glow in the dark mode to not do that. Anyway, so right now we ground pound this. and it flies up. The physics aren't very good, obviously, but that's all right. And you can see this should be like bobbing and weaving in the water slightly. That won't be too hard to add. I don't know if we'll do that today or something else. And then we get the token. So that's how we kind of ended it last week, and we'll pick up from there. Hello, Joshua. Hello, Nicholas. I assume that's, I don't know if that's how you actually pronounce it, but yes. Hello. Oh yeah, I mean, like this. Is that what you're talking about with the aim? Let's see. I forgot to ask during last week's. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that it does work. So it has auto aim. So as long as you're looking like close enough in front of, so like if I aim here, it won't hit him. If I'm like slightly off center, it will hit him. So that the non focused mode does work, or I can go in this mode. And the way it works is it determines what that little dot in the middle is actually looking at, and it shoots the laser at that point. I have to explain it like that because sometimes things are closer, and so that point in the middle is sometimes at a different angle to actually hit it, since Buzz's laser is off center. Because the laser always spawns where the little red part on his arm is. So, yeah. Yeah, so I tweaked the mode. So the way this works is I have nighttime. Like it's even like it's dark out here. What's going on is where's my post-processing? Let's look. I have a post-processing volume here, and then it's exposure. And here I do -4, -4.5, and I can make it darker, and it doesn't actually like make the level darker. It's literally just the camera exposure, which is what makes things look brighter or darker. So I can have it dark like this, but I think this is maybe a little bit too dark, specifically in some areas, because it's kind of hard to see these guys. So we'll refine that a little bit. It's a pretty easy value to change, at least, so I can go like -4.5 and then -5. And it brightens up a little bit. So yeah, this is actually camera work though, is what's going on here. But I'm having it brighter for now, just so it's a lot easier for me to actually see as I'm working. But yeah, that's what's going on. That's what you're noticing. What this fixes, I did this off stream. What this fixes is it removes, when I start the level, it starts black and then fades in. It removes that completely. Because it now sets like, hey, the camera exposure is this, instead of it being adaptive like your eyeballs. I'm going to be doing the same thing to level 1 because it has the same issue. But yeah, so that's what's going on. Anyways, I think that's, oh, target locking. No, I've not done that yet. I need to, because I want to make it like Ratchet and Clank. It's not priority number 1 right now, because I still have so many other basic features to actually do still. Yeah. She almost knocked over my light. That would have actually been pretty bad. Yeah, so I actually do want to make that flashing light on his arm flash whenever you're charging. Right now it doesn't do anything, but yeah. Also, the UI is supposed to turn green when it's full. That does work. I don't know why it's not activating. It's just a small bug. I'm sure it's like super easy to fix. We're not going to worry about it right now. But yeah, you can charge, and that piece should be flashing. So, and also when it's held down, his finger should stay down instead of just tapping it. But again, we'll do that later. Hello. Hey, I'm glad to see you here. I think you left a comment that you keep missing them. Was that you, Art Noob? I know you've left a comment like pretty recently. I can't remember exactly. I think that's what you said. I may be thinking of someone else, but I do remember you commenting recently, at least. Okay, well, let's get started on this duck. First off, we're going to make sure this person that said the duck starts flat is actually correct. I'm not going to actually like play the level right now. Here, we'll watch Nin do it with 50,000 subs. Hello. All right, so we're going to skip ahead. The duck. Okay, here it is. Yep. Okay, so it starts flat and then it gets poofed up. And it looks like it even shrinks when you don't do it. Oh, do you not have to ground pound it? It also does it a lot shorter, and then it kind of like bobs and moves over into place. That's cool. Okay, so it's not actually a ground pound thing. That just makes it really easy to do. We may leave it as a ground pound, but we do need to make it react to water physics and like bob and stuff at the very least. That's fine. We may not do all of that today, but we are at least going to puff it up a bit. So yeah. The toy. Oh yes, the Toy Story. Yes. Okay, that's what it was. Yeah, man, that Toy Story level. Here, I'll show that off. This is like so cool. I don't know what it's called exactly. Is this that's someone else? Where is? Oh look, Life is Neil. I know that guy. Oh. Here it is. This guy. This person did like a Halo Forge map. And I think Art Noob said he helped out. But basically they made Andy's room inside of Halo Infinite, which is super sick. This would be like insane to do actually. Really impressed. Because it's not like the easiest thing to work inside of Halo Infinite. Because you can't like make model. This is low quality, by the way. That's fine. But like the actual video. But yeah, it's cool. Anyways, let's get yeah, red Nomster. But let's get to work. This needs to be flat. So what we're actually gonna do. Oh, I don't want exposure. I want this. It needs to start out at like 0.1. Yes. Okay, and now we're going to go into the blueprint, and we need to pump stopped. It needs to lerp up to the correct scale amount. So I do this by multiplication. I probably need to set it up to like actual values. Oh, this does poof down? It may not. No, it won't. Never mind. I'll have to put that in tick. Okay, so the start scale, and we need to do like plus. We'll make this simple. We'll do like 1.5. And we need to change this to a float. We're going to add like 0.6 or something. Yeah. So what this should do instead is it should add to the scale instead of multiplying by it. And, oh no. Oh no. And then that should be fine. I need to check all my files out of our server. All right. Hold on. I'm almost ready to show the screen again. I just can't show this. Okay, there we go. Now let's try this. If you're wondering what was like going on, we have a server where Kyle and I can work on the game, and it's called source control. It's pretty common in the industry, but it's a server that holds all the project files, but it also lets you check out files, which means no one else is allowed to touch it, so that you can edit it without having to like worry about, oh, this person's also touching that same thing. So it makes it like a lot easier to actually work on stuff, and that's what basically I had to do. This seems... I know why. Okay. The start scale is not going to work because it's the Z that needs to grow, right? And so... what we're going to do is this. Split this. We're going to drag in start scale again. Oh, wait, we have it right there. Hold on. So we have the start scale there. We need the break. And we're going to get the X and the Y to copy over, and only the Z needs to actually update in size. That's what's going on. So now we can pull this down just for cleanliness, pull this up for cleanliness, and then this needs to be a vector again. Plus 0 plus 0 plus 0.35 or something. Right? That should be pretty close to the correct scale. I can correct that in a moment. I need to break it. There's like easier ways to do this. I'm kind of doing this like kind of dumb right now. Like, yeah. That's fine though. Not a big deal. Now it should be fine. Yeah, I'd never seen it. So there are two people who did like Toy Story 2 remake projects before me. Neither one like made like a ton of progress, and they were kind of like, oh look, this works in Unreal Engine 4 or Unreal Engine 5. Oh. Did I do something wrong? The Z was growing, but basically they were like just kind of like showcase stuff. Like one was an art showcase, and the other one was also an art showcase, or like a light tech showcase or whatever. And so yeah, I was one of the first that did that. Oh, okay, Art Noob. I see. So you made Mike, Snake Lenny, and a few other assets. Makes sense. Well, thank you so much, Traveler. That's actually really nice of you to say. Couldn't you temporarily change buzzer start position so you don't have to run across the whole level every time? Yeah, I can. I also need to implement some debug keys into this level, which are things like I can pull up a debug menu and then like teleport across the level as I want. I never implemented that for level 2, so I need to do that. So this should be, what is the actual start scale? The start scale should be, oh, did I actually, hold on, I actually think I know what could be the problem. So, we set the start scale, which is this actor, and we set the actor scale. We don't want that. Or we don't want like what's going on here. So we want that to be normal. We want the whole inflatable to be like 0.1 or whatever. And we can see if this works. It may not yet. This is an easy thing to at least get working. This will just take like a moment or two. Here, let's just go ahead and do that. Base level. There we go. So that's easy. Because it's a little bit smaller too, actually. So we are going to make the whole thing grow so that the width gets wider and that the Z height gets bigger. That'll be fun to do. So if we do that, whoops. We're going to just hard code some numbers in here for now. This is not how you should actually do it. But we're going to do 0.33, 0.33, 0.6. Yeah. And then also this should be, we'll make this like 0.2 to start. We're totally going to cheese this. And then we're going to go back to this code. We're not going to break it. In fact, we're going to just undo all this. Right click, we're going to recombine it, and we're just going to attach this right here. And what this should do now is puff the whole thing up a bit more. So it also gets like wider, and I think that probably maybe looks a little bit better. Whoops. Oh no! No! I may get my controller because I don't want to. Can I pump this up again? No. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. Okay. So next we're going to actually update the bounce pad to not spawn until the duck is at its end position. And then we're going to make it move with the duck. Or actually like be attached to the duck at least. Which should be pretty easy to do. What kind of games, there are a couple PS1 games you'd love to remaster. What kind of games would you like to do exactly? I'll tell you, like, this is like, I never hear anybody talk about this game. If I had to remake another PS1 game, I'd want it to be Speed Punks, which is like a kart racing game. Where like it's just a bunch of little kid punks, you know. I think that'd be like, it was a really fun game when I was a kid. I loved it. I don't know if it's still good, but I'd like to give it a try. Thank you, Funny Frog. That's nice of you to say. Yeah. So yeah, actually, I like when we did it the other day. I just like went for it. I had no idea what the original game did, and I couldn't remember. Yeah, it like barely bobs up and it like bobs in the water, which you know, I could probably do that with this spline still. Like just reuse this. We'll try and see what happens, but yeah. But what we need to do first is get this duck inflatable code, and we're going to add a bounce pad, and we're going to, what is it called? It's a BP launcher. Yes, this is my bounce pad. It's called a launcher. We want this to be set in engine. And now if we go over here, we have a spot for bounce pad. We can click this, launcher duck. I already have it named, so it's easy to find. And now in the code on start or on begin play, which is like as soon as you start the game, we want this to, can you do deactivate? I may just actually move it, actually. Whoop. We'll update its position like that. And then we'll move it to the correct position. It's fine to always stay in the scene. I don't have to deactivate it. But now, once the duck has moved where it needs to go, let's delete that, which is, so this is after it's moved along its spline. We'll put this little execution extension here. I don't know what they're actually called, but that's what I would call it. And then on finished, so after it's done moving to its spline, we want to get the bounce pad relative location. And then we want to set this component relative to its parent. Okay. We need to attach actor to actor. This is great. Parent actor is get reference to self. So this means it's going to attach to the duck. And this is a huge node. Why is it so big? And what we're going to do then is just make sure this works. So we're going to get the bounce pad, bring it over here, get bounce pad, set relative location. And we'll say it's the same location as the duck, but we're going to raise the height by like 50. That may not be enough to actually ground pound. 75. We'll see if that's enough. And now, when the duck is inflated, it should move where it's supposed to go. And boom. Oh, it works perfectly. Heck yeah. First try. It's always nice when everything just works. Glover. Didn't that get like a very cheap remaster that was like put on Steam and people didn't like it? I don't remember. Buzz Lightyear Star Command. If I was to make a Buzz Lightyear game outside of Toy Story 2, I'd want a completely original game based off of Star Command. But I would want something completely original. I have a lot of ideas like in my head about that. They'll probably never get made, but it is something I think about sometimes. A TS2 action game is your pick. And Rogue Squadron. I played on the GameCube like Rogue Squadron 2. Is that what it was? Where I played the demo to it. That was on the Mario Kart disc. Mario Kart Double Dash demo disc. And that was awesome. I never had the actual game, but I had a ton of fun with that. Thank you, Admiral. That's very kind of you to say. One of my friends who's making a game called Paperclay, it's super... Actually, I say friends. Totally not friends. Like, this guy doesn't know I exist. But he's cool. His name is Kevin. And he's making a game called Paperclay. And he just got the composer Grant Copeland to do the music, which is super cool. This game is adorable. Yeah, it's muted. Bring this up. Update that quality. Very adorable game made out of paper and cardboard, and it's like a little like Mario 64 game, and yeah, it's super cute. Yeah, Grant Kirkhope, not Copeland. Grant Kirkhope. So yeah, it's super cute. So I can't wait. This comes out like in a couple of weeks. This will be a cool game to play. So can't wait for that. But yeah, I watch a lot of like development logs on YouTube of like other game devs, and that's one I found very early on, and it seems like he's going to be successful. So that's cool. Chex Quest, that's also another good one. Hello, Michael. Yeah, there was a Glover remaster, but I don't really care about Glover. Never played it. But I've heard that it's a cheap remaster. I don't know if that's true or not. So yeah. Yeah, Bob, I remember that, actually. Hello. Oh, okay, it had like a completely custom macro code. I don't even know what that means. I don't know if he did. He probably did, because he also did the music for Ukulele, which is a successor to Banjo-Kazooie, and then he did the music for Donkey Kong Countries. Those are like the big ones that he's known for. But yeah, no. A Toy Story horror game. I get a lot of suggestions for Toy Story games that I wouldn't like to add features to this that I would never add. You know, maybe someday they'll get added. We're going to. I'm doing the totally wrong button. What am I wanting to do? We're going to, once this is attached, we're just going to add a little bit of simple code here. Where, what's the easiest way to do this? Can you do a timeline and make it loop? No. That's fine. Once it's finished, I can put it back into play from start, right? No. Okay, that's fine. I can put it in tick if I have to. That's probably easiest anyways. So tick is basically like when something runs every frame. So we need to base it off of delta seconds. Delta seconds is like how much time has passed since the last frame. And you can use that to calculate speed regardless of frame rate. So like if you have like a 5 FPS machine and like a 500 FPS machine, the speed of the character is the same. You use delta time to solve that. So yeah. He did the GoldenEye soundtrack. Did he really? I would have never guessed that. That's actually crazy. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're going to do I want to I guess I can actually make two. Man, I really don't know the best way to do this. We're just here's what I'm gonna do right now. I can set up a spline so it like bounces, but the issue is like when you bounce on it, it's supposed to go further down. So it probably needs some kind of calculation, some buoyancy calculation. There may be a feature already in Unreal Engine for that. So I'm actually not going to mess with that. So instead what we're going to do is we're just going to create a timeline. We're going to play from start. And what this is going to do is we're going to make it run like wait, what is this? Is that loop? Oh, there's a loop. Okay. So we want it to go kind of slow. So like 2 seconds maybe. We'll turn on loop, add track, float vector, buoyancy. I don't know if that's actually how you spell buoyancy. Probably not. Oh my goodness. Buoyancy height. Sure. We'll make this a key at 0, 0. We'll put another key at 1, 1. Oh, you know what? I need this to be like 3 seconds, don't I? Here. I think I do. We're going to copy this. And we're going to paste. Oh, can you not paste? Okay, that's fine. And this needs to be at... Oh, no, not length. This needs to be a value of -1. So negative 100% is basically how we're going to calculate this. And then time, it's going to be like a... It's going to like... Yeah, so we actually need this to be at like 3 or whatever. Here, 0.75. We're going to make this go a little bit faster because I feel like that's too long. 2 point... Oh, no. Yeah, 2.25 and -1. Okay. And then at 3 seconds. Okay, so yes, this is correct. Add keyframe 3, 0. Cool. Okay, that works. And now what we can do is an update. It should be looping. I don't know how, if you can like, does it say how many times it loops for? Or is it just run forever? It just says loop. Okay. I don't know. It's fine. We'll just roll with it right now because our main thing is we want to make sure the duck does bounce and that the bounce pad moves with it. So here we're going to get the, we're going to grab one more whoops. I don't want to copy that. We're going to grab a float. We don't need a full vector for the position. We just need to update the Z. So base Z position, and then buoyancy diff, which is like the buoyancy difference. So we're gonna compile this. We want it to bounce like 100 centimeters up and down. So now we're gonna get and set the base Z position. And the way this works is we're going to get actor location. We're going to split this. We only want the Z. Did I? Oh, I said that's an integer, bro. Float. Yes, change variable type. And this also needs to be a variable. That can be an integer actually, right? Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so we now have the Z tracked, and now in update we need to set actor location, and we need to get actor location. We're gonna break this, or split it. That's fine too. Split. We need the X position and the Y position to be the same because the Z position is actually what handles vertical position. So the buoyancy curve is going to be very not very good. I'm going to see if there's like an actual buoyancy system in Unreal Engine. There may be, and then I'll just use that. We're just throwing in something right now to test to make sure the bounce pad stays attached to the oh, you know what though? We can. Let's actually go back to this. We want. Can I like do this and then right click? We want. Something like that. So it's not so strict. Okay, so it's also like kind of like broke it because this needs to be like flat. Oop. Also, this needs to be a straight line, and this needs to be a straight line because of how it's already working. We'll actually put this like up to, I don't know if it actually matters. We'll put this down like that. And that should create a nice like buoyancy. It'll look much better than what it did a second ago. So what this is, it smooths out like how the bounciness will work. So now we need to add this you know what? I need this to track if I am negative or not. We'll check that in a second. Yeah, like delta time is like super important, which has been a standard for a long time. I still get comments saying, how do I make sure, like asking how I make sure that the game doesn't run faster on like on faster hardware, which I know is like a thing that like obviously used to be an issue. That's like not been an issue for like 25 years now though. Like we had delta time figured out like really early on in game development, and then it took a little bit longer to come to consoles because consoles always ran at the same rate technically. But yeah, even still, like, yeah, it's been a thing for a long time now. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, that's why you can take games like Mario Sunshine, run it at 60 FPS, and it'll play the same way. I think that the Toy Story 2 movie is substantially better than the game, and I think the Toy Story 3 game is substantially better than the second game. But that's actually why I chose 2, because Toy Story 3, I didn't know if I could actually make it much better to make it worth like actually like doing this project, right? Because especially if you play it on Series X, it looks incredible. And so yeah, on Toy Story 3 on Series X looks awesome, and so it's like Toy Story 2 could probably use it. Plus there's some stuff that doesn't could use a little bit of updating, you know. So yeah. Buoyancy, you know, I will say, like, I've never done like any buoyancy like calculations or anything, and so I've never like had to actually type it in. Yeah, I didn't see a loop count. I was looking. I don't know that much about the timeline system. It just says loop, and if you right click, it does nothing. So I don't know. There probably is. I'm not the most concerned about it right now, but yeah, I was looking, because that's how it works in like a lot of other programs. Excuse me, I gotta get my red 40 in before it's gone. Changing my profile pic, I don't know. I kind of like that picture of me. It's like 7 years old now. Like, it doesn't really look like me a whole lot. You know, I'm a little bit more bulky than I used to be, for sure. And then my beard is like definitely longer. My beard is definitely much more white. My beard turned white when I was like 28. I don't know why. I'm 31 now, and it looks more dark on camera than it actually is. Like, it's very white in person. I have not a single like gray hair on my head, but I have a ton of white in my beard. That's fine. I'm not like upset about it. I kind of like the salt and pepper look, but whatever. But no, I don't plan on ever changing my profile picture. Thank you so much, Miles away. I don't think it's the best Disney game of all time. I think it's like on up there. Like, it is high. I like. Sorry. There is a kart racing game on PS1, like Magic Kingdom Racing or something like that. And that is what was I going to say? Oh, I know how to do this, by the way. Like, I actually just like here. We're going to multiply. Sorry, I need to put this in before I forget. Get the bounce diff, and this will give us the progress of how much we need to add to not the actor location. That is incorrect. What we need to add to the base Z position. So get. I won't remember what we were talking about a second ago, by the way. I just like realized the solution to this, and I wanted to get it in here before I forgot. And there we go. But yeah, I've long forgotten what we were just talking about, so that's fine. I think this solves it, as long as I didn't actually look that close to make sure whoops. I also need to make this to where you have to bounce pad on it. Well, I think the diff is a little high, but like, we'll make this like 50. It doesn't have to be like very, very strong, right? So yeah, and we're also going to get this. Oh, I can't. Hold on. Can I click on that piece? And then this piece. And we're going to bring it down a little bit further. And now let's check it. The point is, though, that it works, and so Also, does this loop forever? How does the loop on it work? That's like not bad. And you still get you where you need to go. Cool. Well, that was an easy thing to do. Like no blockers really. It took me a second to figure out how to calculate this, but like I don't know why it's like really easy. I just was blanking. Anyways, let's catch up on chat real quick, and then we're going to get started on being able to jump through the bottom of platforms. Because as I said, that's like super essential for level 2. You cannot beat the level if that does not work. So yeah. So technically, like right now, you can beat the level because you can kind of like cheese the level a little bit at the moment. But yeah. Yes, Walt Disney World Racing game. That's what we were talking about. Yeah, that game is awesome. Or at least it was awesome when I was a kid. I've not played it since I was an adult. But yeah, and I remember you could unlock the cricket guy. I can't believe I just forgot his name. Jiminy Cricket. And that felt really cool as a kid. I don't know why, but he specifically, him as an unlockable stuck with me. Yeah, well, I'm gonna fix that. So I'm gonna look into a. Oh yeah, you were talking about like before like when it was too high. Yeah, I'm still gonna look into a buoyancy system and see if that will work, because you want it to go underneath like when Buzz like jumps on it and stuff. But we'll look at that later. Nice buoyancy. I never would have guessed that's how you spell that, by the way. That's very funny. The progress bar. I saw that suggestion. Actually, I saw the suggestion. I remember it. I don't remember exactly what it was. What was it? I remember seeing it, and I like even wrote it down in our Trello as a possible thing to do. I can't remember off the top of my head though. I'll have to pull up Trello and see. But it is like actually it is at least tracked miles, but I don't remember what it was off the top of my head. That was like I get a lot of comments, and so like stuff like exits my mind after like a week. I can keep track of like almost all the comments I get because I read every single comment, like every single one from everywhere, either like YouTube members, Patreon, just YouTube comments, Discord messages, all that. Like all that's like in my mind for like a week, and then it vanishes, and so I have to like actually write stuff down if it's something like super notable. But yeah, I get a lot of comments, and so it's easy to forget it all. Even I do take special care to like keep track of people who comment a lot, and like obviously like Patreon members. But yeah, like eventually like the comments just go into the ether from my brain, and so they have to be tracked. Yes. Yeah. Was it of just the level, like the progress of the level? Is that what it was? Of like, I don't remember. Yeah. Anyways, I'll look at that in a bit. But yeah, I do remember like actually documenting that and like actually doing some like UX work on it to see what would if it would work or not. But yeah. So now we're going to create blueprint. This is going to be a generic blueprint. This is going to be something that's in every single level, no matter what, or almost every single level. So we need to do a blueprint class. Here, actually, let me look something up real quick. Hold on real quick, sorry. Oh! Yes. didn't realize you were Scorpion on Patreon. Hello. Yeah, dude, you've been with me on a long haul. Yeah, the progress bar to like show like progress of like each level being done and stuff like that. Yes, I was like totally thinking of something else. There's another feature that I've been working on that's on Trello. Anyways, so yeah, I've considered that I'm gonna be dropping some like videos on Patreon like here very soon. I'm in the final stages of like editing one, and then I have another one that I have mostly recorded and like cut, but I need to record a little bit more footage once we get this this enemy actually modeled, because right now it's the classic model, and you can ignore RC, he turns invisible when the game starts, but basically yeah, we have a the new model of this coming as our next model to make. So then I'll like make a video about the enemies exploding and stuff, and then yeah, but yeah, I do want to drop some more nuggets on Patreon. It's just a bit, you know, a little hard to keep track of everything and like actually get stuff moving. I thought about having my wife help me out and like get stuff uploaded online to like all these different areas, because I am not a social media person by any means. Okay, so no, here we're going to go back to this blueprint class. It's just an actor blueprint. BP under. Oh, you know what? Should it be a component? What would I even call this? Like a platform you can jump through? It would be platform activation trigger. In fact, you know what? We may not even need this to be. This may be like super easy to do. I was planning on doing this a separate way, and I think we're actually going to do it a little bit different. So here we're going to add actor to toggle, and then we want to just get an actor that's in the scene, and this will let us set what object we want to turn invisible. We're going to finish this like really early. We're going to have to find other stuff to do in today in development. And then we want to add a collider. No, that's not what it's called. It's called a what's it called? A collision. Unity calls it a collider. That's where I'm getting the name from. A box collision. That's all well and good. And now, on component begin overlap. I need to actually. You know what? I should make this just a interface. That'll be like much more efficient. Pull this up. Right click. We're going to go to blueprints. Is it interface in here? Blueprint interface. Oh, this should also be in trigger, shouldn't it? Interface for that, and we want to add an overlap. Overlap, ground check triggers. Here. And then that should be good. Next, we're going to go back into that blueprint. Can I move these to triggers now? Is it going to get mad at me? Good deal. Okay. So here we want to implement this interface for glass settings, add, and we called it the, what do we call it? Ground check colliders. That's all well and good. We want to implement this interface. So basically when, let me explain how an interface works real quick. Douglas, hello, thank you. Yeah, level 2 is actually going to be super easy to remake, relatively speaking, to level 1. And so, like, we have, like, a bit of it done. I think we have about 20% of the assets done already, with, like, minimal work done, really. But this is, like, some of the harder stuff we've done so far. Or, like, we've done some of the harder assets. So, like, the entire ground has been remodeled, all the fence work, the paths, the pool, the quicksand and the ramps, these marker things, the water, the pool, planks that you push over. Like, we have a bit of it done, like, pretty quickly. So that's all, like, cinder blocks and trash cans. So, like, we have like a bit of it done, but we still have, like, a lot more that we need to get in here for it to look like fully good. But it is, like, already coming together and looking pretty nice. And we also have, like, some foliage in here. We have I think it's about 60,000 static meshes of foliage, which is not interactable, and I don't know how to make foliage interactable. Like, interactable as in, like, when you walk through it, it, like, brushes to the side. You can do that. I just don't know how. I'd have to, like, actually do a bunch of research on that because it's not very easy to do. So, yeah, level 2 is coming along. That's pretty cool. Yeah, you have a different name on Patreon. So it's funny. I have a friend named Scorpo, and then you're there with Scorpion, and so, like, sometimes I'll, like, see one or the other, and I'll just think it's the other person real quick. But yeah, we don't know if we're gonna remake the whole game. That's may not be in the cards. We'll see, but if we were to remake all the levels, the level I would be most excited to remake would be Al's penthouse. That's my favorite level in the game, and I love the music to it and the vibe and the environment and everything like that. But I don't know if I'll get the opportunity to actually do that. I hope I do. It'd be a really fun level. The two hardest levels the single hardest level to remake, like, by far, without question, would be Al's toy barn. That one would be a ton of work, at least on the art side. It's a big level. It requires a ton of art assets to look good. That one would be, like, very difficult. But yeah. Hello, Dagimus. Glad to have you watching. Yeah, Douglas, that's like exactly what happened. Is I got, like, almost all the mechanics working in, like, an actual functional state where I can at least get by, and then, like, when I cut to level 2, I have to add, like, a couple more mechanics and then implement a bunch of stuff. So, like, actually, like, months ago, I came in level 2 and, like, none of the art or anything. I just implemented, like, half the features in the level in, like, one single live stream. But yeah, we have to, like, actually add more now. Like, I didn't have, like, all the custom interaction stuff is not set up. Pushable blocks are strictly for pushing right now. You can't tip stuff over, so I had to add that. I didn't have quicksand. The zip lines don't work like they're supposed to, and so I wonder if this is, like, probably because this has collider on it, which is why. So you can't actually jump off. But so that's, like, not something I can prevent. Whatever. Yeah, there's, like, still some features in here I don't have. I didn't have, like, this following a path or anything. I need to set missions and stuff, but, like, a lot of the work is done. Like, you can get through almost this entire level already, if I implemented the mechanics or the mission systems. But I still have, like, a few mechanics to work out. Yeah, Al's penthouse is the best level in the game. Not even close. There's always the fear of what's to come next. So like what's going to happen with this project if we continue making it, and in, like, whose eyes are going to get on it and stuff. There's, like, certain questions there or whatever. If we move on, we have some ideas for the next project of what it would be. We're going to do at least one more remake. And we're thinking of, like, you know, maybe Blink's a time sweeper. There was a suggestion the other day that was like a great idea, and I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. But yeah, we have some. We have like a whole like Discord channel strictly for like the collaborators, and we've talked about it a little bit there. And then after we finish that, we'll probably move on to a fully original game. But yeah, we don't know if we're gonna how far we'll go with this exactly. I would like to do it all, but we'll see. There's still some questions around that. Buzz, over here. I can't sound like that guy. The guy from the British act. Oh, is he British? He kind of like, he talks nasal. He has a super unique voice. Kind of a weird voice. Yeah, I don't know how easy that is to implement, because the way Unreal Engine works, at least easily, is you just do an actual like pause game blueprint, like a single node. So I can like come here and I can do pause game, and you can set the game pause or not, and it just does it. So it makes it like really easy. To be for. No, like me. So the original idea was like, I never expected this project to take off. I mean, my Fable project got me like 400 subs. And so I never expected this to take off either. And it was purely just a portfolio piece at first. But obviously, as you get people who like build an expectation of a specific type of content, you kind of want to fulfill that, you know. And honestly, like I did get before this like became like a huge thing, I was already getting obsessed with the project and wanting it to be like one of the coolest things I've ever worked on, right? And yeah, so we'll see. Anyways, when this trigger overlaps, I need to get this working real quick. We want to, after the trigger, get all get components by class. Man, this is actually set actor enable collision. Okay. Oh, you know what? I also need to do an exit collision on that interface. And overlap ground. Okay, so, and I need to implement this on Buzz, which will be super easy to do. So we want to set this to enable the collision on the actor, I guess. This may work. It should. And then for end overlap, we want to get the same thing, copy and paste this over, except we want to turn the collision off. And now on Buzz, he has his ground collision check. We want to add a begin overlap and a where'd the ground check go? Ground check and end overlap. Good deal. I hate how this is like off center now because of that. We're actually going to put this over here by the interaction system, because it's kind of like the interaction events, because it's kind of like the interaction system. So that's fine. If other actor implement interface, that's what it is, and we want to do the ground check colliders. Then I'll explain what we did here super quick, by the way, once I get this in here, and then we'll check to see if it works. If it does implement interface, then we want to what is this called? Interface underscore. No, I don't want to cast. I want to send a message. What is it? Overlap. I don't remember what I called it. Overlap ground check trigger. That's what it is. I should be able to just... Okay. Overlap ground check trigger on the other actor. And this should work. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy all this. Paste it over here. The other actor needs to go here. Other actor also needs to go here. We implement that interface. If this is true, then we need to end overlap. Oh, I misspelled that. Yo, Aqua, where's my editorial help? Oh my gosh. Let's correct this. I will say, like, something I've noticed is I misspell stuff a lot more on my computer when I'm streaming than when I'm just like working. I don't know why. Maybe I just am not as accurate when I'm on stream. That is an interesting thing to note, but I don't know why that happens necessarily. But let's check chat and then I'll explain how this works. Thank you. Yeah. I will say, like, Kyle, like, it's not just my hard work. Kyle's put in a ton, like, probably just as much work as I have at this point. Like, we worked together to create the art direction, and then he's taken off with that and made it like a whole thing, and really built like a cartoony 90s feeling world with this. So, like, super awesome of him as well. I actually want to return to Fable one day, Miles. I quit it because I was waiting for a plugin I was using to make like materials easier to generate, because there was a whole mess dealing with materials from Fable 1. I should have just made the plugin myself, and I could do that now because it wasn't a very complicated plugin, but I didn't. And I kept waiting. They kept saying it's going to be updated soon. They did that, and they kind of like did it for months, and I was kind of like at a blocker. And then they updated it, and they updated it to the version of Unreal Engine before mine, and so they didn't have an update version for me. And so yeah, that's kind of what happened there, and I do want to return to it. But yeah, Mario Sunshine, yeah, Nintendo was super weird. I would probably never remake a Nintendo game, something that is strictly Nintendo, where they own like part of the IP or whatever. Even though there's like some I would like to, I probably never would. Yeah, this side project alone, we have about 2,000 to 2,500 hours in, I believe. Like between Kyle and I think it's about 2,500 hours that we put into the project. So yeah. A train and subway simulator open world game in Unreal Engine 5, recreating all rail vehicles and rail routes. That's actually really interesting. You could do like some really cool stuff on there. Like for work, I do like a bunch of simulation stuff, and that's like really cool. No, I didn't fix the buoyancy. I'm not going to either. That's staying. Yeah, things are always different when people are watching you. That's true. Yeah. There's always like this little bit of like added pressure to do well, and then that so by itself makes you perform worse, like just on its own. Where to learn about blueprints better? I have 3 channels for you that you can check out that exclusively do like Unreal Engine tutorials. And the issue is like Unreal Engine documentation, which is like what is used. I don't want that. Hold on. My camera may freeze for a second because of how my camera's set up, but shh. Anyways, their documentation is terrible, and so it's a little unfortunate because it makes it harder to just learn by reading up on Unreal Engine. So the channels you should check out. First off, Decryption. This guy is an actual homie. He's a friend of mine. And all he does is Unreal Engine tutorials. He has like a ton here, and they're all phenomenal. He helps make the mission system that I use, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, this guy's really cool. Unreal Engine tutorial channel. If you want someone who does it a lot more and has a lot more years worth of videos, there's Gorka Games. Yes. This guy here, 144,000 subs, 817 videos. Jesus Christ, y'all. Anyways, they do like every single kind of feature you would want. And I've actually used these guys for even my professional work, where there'll be like some super obscure system that you can learn. So the best way to do it is to look up features that you want to make and watch how other people do it. I wouldn't follow just one tutorial, because tutorials have a habit of not making you learn. So watch like 2 or 3, 4, 5 tutorials, all different tutorials on like one feature, like a grappling mechanic here, and then see how they all do it. And eventually you'll pick up like, okay, so the idea is that I need to shoot a raycast, figure out where it's shooting at, where it's shooting from. I create a bell curve of where I would travel if I was going to grab, like all this stuff. Like you start like thinking like a programmer, and you don't know the actual blueprints to implement yet, but that just comes with practice. There's still a lot of features in Unreal Engine that I don't know. But there's Gorka Games, and then, oh man, I don't remember this guy's name. Unreal Engine 5 Mass AI Behavior. I think he'll come up if I do this. Ryan Laley. Yeah. So this guy's another one that does like really good tutorials as well. So these 3 people, and this guy like does like multiple videos and like series of how to do stuff, but he doesn't do them like necessarily in order, which I think is probably better. But yeah, I mean, he creates like kart racing games, quiz games. He has like a mass AI behavior, which is something that like Unreal Engine basically never talks about. Combat systems, UI, casting, textures. Like he has all kinds of stuff on here. So yeah, those are the 3 channels to check out. They're all pretty good. So yeah. Let's see. Yeah, not having a risk of C&D is it's pretty significant because that is constantly on the back of my mind. So yeah. Larry, my assumption is you could remake the entire game to scale at like really fleshed out with 10 developers in less than 2 years. So that timeline would be pretty close to what I was suggesting, but yeah, you could have like actual cutscenes and things like that in here. So yeah, that's my theory. Is it'd probably take like 10 people to do that. Yeah. Well, Fob, one thing about optimization though is big studios get direct support from Unreal Engine, because Unreal Engine has like a stake in games looking good and performing good. Like they want games to be good because it sells their engine. Like the more like Arkham Knight games are out there, which is an Unreal Engine 3 game, the more games like that for Unreal Engine 5, the more people will use the engine and therefore make them more money in the long run. So they get direct support from Epic. So yeah. Yeah, Toy Story 5 is coming out next summer, I believe. I think that's correct. Hello from Brazil. Hi. Hello from Arkansas. Let's explain how all this works. So an interface, we'll go to Buzz. So I have on Buzz, there's all kinds of triggers on him because I do a lot. But on Buzz, there's this ground collision check. It's this little box, and this is a trigger. And what I did is, when that trigger overlaps something, I want to check if that object implements an interface. What an interface is I can create a function names here, and I can attach these function names to any blueprint. So I attached them to this platform activation blueprint so that I can create those events with these names. Well, now what that lets me do then is on Buzz, if it does have an interface, then I can just call this interface, and anything that I reference will evoke that event. So this actor, since it has this interface, will evoke the ground check trigger, and leaving it will evoke the end overlap trigger. So this is for overlapping begin and overlapping ending. And then on the actual platform, when it receives this message of overlapping and end overlapping, we basically turn on and turn off the collision. We should see if this works, because I don't know if it does. The easiest way to do it is we're just going to get like a simple object to test it on. I think we're going to check it on here. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag in this platform activation blueprint. We're going to scale this box to the correct size. So we actually want this to be... it needs to be above the object, I believe, right? I think that's right. Okay, so the actor to toggle, we want it to be the concrete platform, so we can use this little eyedropper tool to select it. And now we can actually work on extending the trigger box. Let's center this a little bit better, and then center this a little bit better. And now click on the box again. We'll scale the Y. That's probably good enough. And now we can test this out. So now this should have no collision. Let's see if that actually works. Oh, you know, I didn't do it on start, did I? Hold on. Yeah, nothing on start. So actor to toggle on begin play needs to turn off collision. And now theoretically it should have no collision, right? I've never used that blueprint, so that may not be the correct blueprint to use for turning off collision on an actor like that, but oh yeah, it works. Cool. So then we can run up here, and now it turns on. So what this means is that you theoretically should be able to jump through the bottom of platforms. Let's see if I can. Oh, I can't get that high. Whoops. This is like way easier with it. Man, I am so bad with keyboard controls. It works. So easy. So easy. But we're actually going to delete that box. But we know that the activation system works. Now the platforms that are going to be using this activation system are these trees, because you need to be able to jump to the bottom of them because you climb on them. We need to do it for all of these like tree branch stuff that's going to be made. So all the way up here, so you can jump to the bottom of them to actually climb. And I actually think that may be it. So yeah, just those. So that was actually a super easy feature to make. Okay, so that one works just fine, I believe. We may have to do some like cleanup on it later. I'll know once I actually get assets. The issue is I don't have assets yet for these guys. So what is this? So I will say that I actually started on Unity, and I'm not against using Unity, even though they're being kind of crazy a little bit. Yeah, I started as a Unity dev. I did my first job, which was a VR developer with them, and then my current company, I did Unity work for them for like 3 years, and now I do exclusively Unreal Engine work. So yeah, I like Unity. I like C#. Unreal is fun to use as well. They have different purposes. Yeah, I think if Toy Story Reassembled were to actually sell, it would make a huge profit. I could get 10 developers in here for 2 years and there'd be a large amount of profit in it, even after paying like licensing fees and all that stuff, and publisher fees and stuff. It'd probably still make millions of dollars in profit, but I don't expect that to happen. Is the game playable with PS1 or N64 controllers yet? No, it works with Xbox and PS4 controllers. I don't even know if my PS5 controller works on it. That may have different rule sets. I think it works, but I haven't tried. Let's see. Hello, Aaron. Is this how games like Smash Brothers do the jumping through platforms from below? Yes. Basically, everything has their collision turned off until you hit a trigger just above wherever you're supposed to jump at, and that activates the platform. That's how like all games do it. I didn't look up any tutorials on how to do it, but I've never actually made that myself, but I knew that that's how it's done. And for like a flat platform like this, it's a lot easier because it's just easy to implement. The issue is when you get like weird shapes like this, a box collider doesn't really work. So you may have to actually use a custom version of it where it has like a different collider shape to work better. But regardless, yeah, that's how like all these games do it, is collisions turned off yeah. The issue though is like when you have multiplayer, especially on the same system, there's like other ways you have to do it. So you have to, I don't know how it's done with like multiplayer on the same system. Across the network, it's really easy as well because you set the other person's position no matter what. They can be floating in the air and you don't check logic on that stuff or whatever. You just do exactly what they're doing. On the same game, like having this not be active until you are on top of it. Someone could be on top of it and someone could be like underneath it, and then no longer the person can jump through it because this person has the collision enabled already. So I don't know what you do there. But yeah. yeah. Pog accomplishments. And that's theoretically, but we're talking like millions of dollars. And also, it's not just Disney. Activision owns the license as well. So you don't have just like one company. You have two to go through. So yeah, I don't expect us to ever think, zero expectations, but it'd be cool. But yeah. Man, Al's Toy Barn, we're talking like many months of artwork to do. Like Kyle would be swamped with that. So I don't know. I would love that. Let me check out Trello. Let's see. I don't have a Trello tab open, so I guess we'll open a new one. Here we'll go to level 2 and ability to jump to the bottom of specific platforms. This is like technically in progress, but technically done. I'll mark it today and I'll like update if I have to. That's fine. We're gonna put a date of the 15th on here. And it was because that's when we want to know when it was done. We also did. Oh, we can do water physics. That'd be fun to do. We could probably do that on stream. Did I? What was the other thing I did today? Oh, the duck. I did that more. Yeah, that's right. And that's right there. So that's fine. Yeah. What if we do like water physics? I think that'd be not too difficult to do. Water physics. Well, we're not going to do the post-processing effect where everything turns blue. We're probably not going to do that. But we will update his floatiness, his speed. I'm gonna guess the way it's done is you tweak gravity and then you lower his speed. And I assume that's all you have to do. We'll check. Unreal Engine is harder than Unity to learn, but it's not impossible to learn as your first engine. Unity is more user-friendly, and there's a ton more tutorials in Unity. And I think C# is easier than Blueprints, mostly because of the documentation. Like you can study Unity's website for their technical documentation, just like read it, and it's easy to understand, relatively speaking. And you can like learn just from like reading text, like tech documents about how the software works. With Unreal Engine, you can't really do that. You just have to watch YouTube tutorials pretty much. But I mean, it's not impossible to learn as your first engine. There's also Godot, which I don't know how to use, but is apparently pretty easy as well, relatively speaking, of course. But yeah, if you want to use, basically figure out which engine would work best for whatever type of games you want to make, and then use that engine. And then your first game should be a crappy game that is not very good. And with that, you'll be happy. Documents, I have a lot of ideas. I actually have I have an idea for a game that's never been done. And I really want to make it. The issue is it's a co-op game, a physics-based co-op game that is a genre that's never had a co-op mode like this. The issue is that physics over the network is still basically impossible. Not completely, to be fair, but like I can't do it myself, right? And especially like physics-based at this speed, because then you have to get into like predictive stuff with the network so that it appears like on time for the other person and stuff. This is all stuff that Rocket League has to deal with. That's like makes it really challenging, right? But yeah, I don't want to throw my. I may make that like at least a local version of that like somewhat soon-ish, just for fun. But yeah, it's an idea that no one has done like this, at least from what I've seen. But we'll see. As far as like genres, I would not do. I would not do a stealth game. I would not do a horror game. Outside of that, I'm pretty open. It just depends on if I have a good idea for something. Water physics as in like Buzz's movement inside of the level. So yeah, so if we do the full game, we probably would get someone else. The thing is like Kyle and I are like moving at a decent pace to where we're always on like the same areas. And also with more people being brought in, there's always like a huge like producer setback that I can handle like one or two people on the team besides me. The second there's more than that, I find myself just doing tons of producer tasks. And what a producer does is they actually set up all the tasking for team members. They get the pipeline working for everyone so that everyone can do their work, but then that limits the work I can do. So yeah, at one point we had like 5 people working on the game at once, and it wasn't working because I couldn't get anything done. Which I mentioned that in the video, but yeah. So for this specific project, since we're only doing like one level at a time, basically I set up each level to be its own like group of tasks. And then I have like environment art, character art, and animations. The next tasking that he needs to do. Then we have like approved art, and like all this is like Kyle, and it's like basically what he does is he'll go through. I'll have a description of what he needs to do along with like a checklist of stuff that needs to happen. I'm the one that places it in the level, but he does everything else, like importing, texturing, UV mapping, everything. He'll upload this. It is worth noting that I put the original asset attached to this card. So he downloads the original asset and then models the new one based off of the shape. and then he'll upload his render of it from Blender. So this is what this looks like technically in Blender, right? Yeah, and then like I have like my, on the other side of this, I have like mechanics, mission systems, UI, sounds, design and code, bugs to fix, in progress, and then like tasks that are done. Like I date a lot of it. I don't date everything, but I do date a lot of it just so I know like when it was done. Yeah, we do it like by level just because this can be approved. And those can be approved because those were done. But yeah, basically here we have like all the environment art, collectible art, character animation, next art tasking that he's going to be doing, all the assets that were already made, and then we have like the mechanics, mission, UI, sounds, and then again like in progress and everything that's actually done. So, and you can see like September 27th is when I did my stream, like just adding like the basic stuff to the level, and then I just now came back to it. But yeah, that's how I kind of do the producer stuff. And you can do other stuff on here like assign tasks to people. But yeah. Let's see. Yeah, no, I hadn't really talked about it. I was just showing something else. Or I was looking for what I wanted to do next because we finished what I was already planning for the night already after like an hour of streaming. So yeah. Local version, it'd probably take me a few weeks. It would be pretty quick to get like an ugly prototype working. To get like a really engaging and super fun prototype working, we're talking maybe like 2 months at most. But that would be like feature complete in a rough state. But it would get the idea across of like, hey, this is what I want to make. It'd be really cool, like even art. I could probably do it quicker, but that's being pretty conservative. But yeah. Well, I don't get burned out. I never have been. In the video, like I'm talking about like the stresses of like all this going on and stuff. That wasn't like burnout for me. That was just like, man, I never intended to work on this project long term. Do I still want to be working on it or not? And it wasn't really like because of burnout. It was like I have other stuff I want to do or whatever. But yeah, I don't get burned out. And so I just see the task and I'm like, okay, let's just chip away at it. Yeah, burnout is a serious issue that a lot of people deal with in indie development, especially since a lot of times you're all alone. Yeah, I don't experience it typically myself usually. So, yeah, always work to be done. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to create another blueprint, another trigger. This one should be pretty easy as well. We should implement an interface for overlapping with Buzz, like his base model, because I always have to keep checking if something is like colliding with his physical trigger or not. We're not going to do that right now, though. What we're going to do is get a blueprint class, and we're going to call it, it's going to be an actor again. We're going to call it BP underscore underwater trigger. We have to do like quite a bit of work for this actually. So this one may not even get done tonight, but it's not that difficult to do. We'll see. And we want to also, we're going to do it. We're going to create an interface for overlapping with Buzz's physical collider. You know what? I should just make a single interface that like does it all, and that way. No, I'm gonna do it like this. Yeah. Oh wait, no, I don't want a blueprint. Cancel. I want in here, which I can do it from the other library, but yeah. Interface underscore player, what's that called? Capsule. Player capsule trigger. The capsule being like the actual cylinder that is around Buzz. Let me catch up on everything real quick. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's because I'm like actually obsessed with working Aqua. Like even when I worked at, like before all this, I worked at Target and I worked a second job at like a movie theater, and I just liked working. When I don't work, I don't like it. Like I always have to be working, and that doesn't have to be like physically like at my job. It can be side projects like this. It could be learning music or playing piano or anything, but like staying productive, is like a pinnacle key point, a pinnacle value of my life. Overlap player. We're going to add another function for and overlap player. But yeah, so that's kind of what, like, kind of why. Yeah, Bruno, I mean, it could be, I understand that, like, challenge. To me, it's just like, okay, let's just chip at it little by little. I don't really have, like, good advice for that because I'm not the person to give advice because it's not something I've ever struggled with, really. There have been times, and it's not burnout, but I have experienced, like, that kind of thing, like, especially at Target, you get a big truck in one day, and you're like, well, okay, we got to get all this out there, and it's, like, a lot. It's, like, the whole back room is full of pallets that need to be pushed to the floor or whatever. And like, okay, this is like pretty serious to this point, and so it's not burnout, but it's like kind of like, ugh, this is a lot. No, I mean, I'm not genetically engineered or anything like that, but yeah, it's just kind of lucky. Now, burnout is different than like getting distracted by side projects. That is a thing that where you see it, you get an idea, a little like flash in your brain, a new nugget for a new idea, and it like really entices you to leave your current project and work on that. Every game dev experiences that. That's very different from burnout, though. Dagumus, thank you so much. 2 Canadian. That's very kind of you, sir. Thank you. I appreciate that. Everyone like Dagumus's super chat. That's very nice. Yeah, and like it is important to have something to do and something that is productive, that may not be necessarily 100% valuable to you in the future. Like learning piano, like I play piano over there. I'm okay. But it's never going to help me in life. Like, let's be honest. But it's like still good for like my brain. I say help me in life. It's never like going to land me a job or anything like that. But it is still good for my brain to stay active and keep motivation. To stay hungry, you have to eat. This is something you hear where like to stay motivated and to stay like hardworking, you have to continue to do that. So like the moment, if I take a week off work, I can tell like the following week where it takes me a bit to actually get back into everything, right? So that's what, yeah. So it is like a lot of times you just have to like suck it up for like a week and do it, and then hopefully by then you're used to it. Player capsule trigger. Okay, so we want these here. We're gonna pull up. Oh, I need a trigger on here as well. We'll do another box collision. A box collision sounds like the perfect way to do this. We're gonna set the box extent to like 500 by 500 by 500. Actually, we'll do like 100, and that will be the base, and then we can change it in the level. And basically for this, on the box, we want to. Oh, I don't even know if we actually need to. Yeah, we do. Begin overlap, and then end overlap. No, actually, we don't want the overlap. Well, wait. Yes, we do. Just kidding. I just confused myself for a minute, right? No. This is what I need. Okay. Excuse me. Sorry. I just got a little bit confused. Yeah, I mean, everyone experiences burnout differently, and I mean, a lot of it is so much like my lack of burnout is so highly attributed to my hatred of not working. So it's like obviously, like if you hate not working, your chances of being burned out are significantly lower, right? So yeah, like, and that was like a core value like instilled to me by my dad. Like he was very passionate about work, and so yeah. Yeah, getting overwhelmed is like something I can experience, but I never let it like burn me out. But yeah, the amount of work can overwhelm you, especially if you don't know how to solve this stuff. Like if you made this task list, but you don't know how to do like any of the features yet in game development, you can be like, well, I don't even know how to do this. Like, I don't know how long all this will take. I mean, at least I have an idea of like, okay, like making like a water physics that should take like a couple hours, and updating the pushable system to like knock over those planks that should be like, you know, 4 or 5 hours maybe, stuff like that. As a full-on beginner, you don't know, and it may take you 3 days because you're looking at tutorials, and the tutorials don't work for your project exactly. So yeah. Miles, yeah, I loop the same music track right now, but it's basically like 5 hours of music, and I think like an hour and a half of it's repeated actually. So it's an hour and a half and it's repeated, but yeah, it's just a bunch of songs. Like there's like Donkey Kong on here and stuff. So yeah. So now that we have this, we need to go back to Buzz. We need to focus. I need to focus. Capsule component, capsule collider. We need a on component begin overlap here and end overlap. And then we kind of bring these up here. Go. 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 It doesn't want to go. First off, we're going to put these inside of a comment so I can easily tell what it is. And this is, I don't even remember what this is for. Oh, ground check. Ground check, I'll call it the ground check trigger interface. And we need to show the bubble, and we're going to set it black because that blends in much better. That's what these comments do, is they give you like these little like notes so you can like easily find what you need when there's like a bunch of stuff here. Anyways, so we have all that. Now for this, we kind of need the same bit of code actually. So copy, paste, and then we need other actor to go here, and other actor to go here, other actor go here, and other actor go here. And if it's true, whoops, we need to implement an interface for what's this? I actually need to rename this. This is not a good name. Overlap player. Oh my goodness. Overlap player. Oh my. Yeah. And this is end overlap player capsule. And the reason it's important I distinguish that is because all the interfaces can be called at any point. And so I need to be able to know what I'm actually looking for. And then we're going to end overlap player capsule. So once that's all good, then this, so what should happen now is if I drag in the water physics trigger to the level, it will kick off this. So we'll just do, here, let's put this one above. I like end being after the begin. So for here, we're just going to check real quick. We're going to do a print string. And we're going to call it begin overlap and then copy and paste, drag this, and we're going to rename this to end overlap. And now let's drag that into the level, into the pool. And we need to update the size of this box a bit. So it needs to extend past the walls, which is totally fine. And then this should be like that way. And then we also need the depth to be like 300. That's totally fine. We want it to be a little bit higher. And now, when we step, oh no, when we step into the water, we should see begin overlap. We should see one. Oh, I know why. Okay. Because I copied code. This should not be the ground check. This should be the interface underscore player capsule trigger. Player capsule. We were checking for the wrong interface. We were checking for the ground check one, which is like what the duck uses for example. There we go. Begin overlap. End overlap. Begin overlap again because we like kind of exited it slightly. So yeah, we can refine the actual position of it once we get the physics updated, because then we'll have a better idea of like when we should actually turn off water physics or not. Let's see. There's a few. Bye. You have a good night. The game dev is very relaxing and comfy. Yeah, I mean, it is also like a slow process, right? But it is like always nice to have someone there to like talk to while you're doing it. I won't say always, actually, because sometimes you just want to focus and get stuff done. But for like easier features, especially, it's nice to hang out with a crew while you're doing it. We need to go to characters, player characters, and we need Buzz metrics. Here we go. So this is like all of his like actual movement values and stuff. Is it normal to want to ditch tutorials and just learn as you go? That's a phenomenal question. Yes, it is. And what you'll find is usually you go back to the tutorial pretty quickly because you're like, I actually don't know how to do this part like I thought I had it. But yeah, one thing is like, it's a healthy way to think too, though, because you can get trapped in tutorials to a point to where you aren't learning. You're just copying what they're doing, right? And that doesn't retain info. And so, yeah, don't get trapped in that. But, yeah. All right. See you later, Miles. Y'all take care. But what we're going to do here is we're going to add values. I wish I could rearrange these. Unfortunately, I can't, which is whatever. But underwater speed, and also, oh, my phone is like on nighttime. I hope my wife isn't trying to message me. Okay, she's not. I just realized my phone like goes to bedtime mode at 11:55, and I just realized like that was 25 minutes ago. Underwater gravity. These should be floats, which is a number that can be a decimal. Do we have a regular gravity on here? We don't. I'm pretty sure it'd be gravity. I would assume. I bet it is. But it can't be like much different than actual gravity. But we need to add a value on here for standard gravity. Check out selected, and then we got to go to Buzz. Here, copy, save. What is... Oh, gravity scale. That'd be an easy one to do. Let's just do that. Yeah, gravity scale. Hold on. Let's do 3.0. We don't need that. We need here. Okay. Standard gravity scale is 3. Underwater gravity scale would be 2.5. We want it to be allow us to go a little bit floatier. That may be how it works. It may have to be 3.5. I don't know. And underwater speed, what is our standard speed? 700. We're going to make it like 400. Our quicksand speed is 300. We want it to be faster than that. So yeah, we'll go with that. And basically we need to know if we're inside of underwater. Do we need to make that a state or just every action should be available under a water, right? That is already a thing. It would basically just be, yeah, that should be fine. That's already tracked, and I don't know if I have to update that. We may, but we're just going to see if updating the actual gravity scale and movement, the max movement speed will be enough. But yeah, we may be updating the acceleration too. We'll see. I will say I don't update the acceleration on the quicksand. I just max out how fast you're allowed to go. And so like I'll show that here. It works okay. I may make it like actually start syncing you a little bit more, but yeah. Let's see. Tutorial hell, yeah. I mean, every developer, like early on, almost every developer goes through that, especially if you don't have like engineering experience, like with programming specifically. If you already have some programming experience, you can get out of that very easily. Yeah. Well, we're about to check to see if the water works. That's what we're working on right now. Is we're updating the water physics. So when he overlaps this, we want to where's our movement? Movement input. The standard movement, left, right. I think all that's good. I think we're going to set up just a function for underwater state activated. We'll just call it that. That seems like a good name. And then, or underwater state triggered. And we'll add a boolean here. And then what we can do at this point is, I did not play the Oblivion remaster. I wanted to, and I've been so busy. I did get about 15 hours into Clair Obscure Expedition 33. I played that before Oblivion, and so far it is incredible. It's a masterpiece. But yeah, I never got to Oblivion Remaster, which I never cared about Oblivion in the first place. I think it's the worst of Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim. So I wasn't like that excited. I thought it was cool, but yeah. Oh, we don't need an output. Let's get rid of that, actually. Did not mean to do that. We want another input. No, we don't. We want trigger activated. We want a branch. And if this branch is true, we want to get the character movement. We want to set max speed. And here we want to get our metrics. And we can just split this. That's fine. It's getting a little messy, but it's all right. Underwater speed. We can set that. And then we want to set our gravity. Gravity scale. Set gravity scale. So once that speed is updated, update the gravity scale. The gravity scale should be the underwater value. And then we want to copy these. I don't want that copied. I want just these. This should go here. This should go here. Drag in false to there. And then we want the standard gravity to go here. And another one over here. And then we want the standard movement speed to go here. And that's pretty crazy looking, but that actually should work as long as with the underwater trigger. We actually want to update this slightly to where on the interface, we want to pass in an input to this, and you want it to be buzz. If we ever get like another character in here, this will be a small issue, but it won't be very hard to fix, so it's fine. And I don't plan on ever adding other characters because it's like 500 hours of work to get another character in, probably. It would be a lot to do. But once we have that, we can go back to buzz, to event graph. Here we have buzz here, and we can get reference to self. And what this means is we're going to pass buzz's buzz as a variable over here to here. So on the underwater trigger, we now have access to buzz without having to like do a cast or anything, which is like super expensive. So now that we have access to buzz, we can call underwater state triggered, and we can call this true and false. And now theoretically the water should work already. And then we may have to update acceleration too, but let's see. Well, the gravity definitely needs updated more. That's for sure. But I'll also have to update like the jump height, as if I do that is like a big thing. Unless there's another way to. Well, the issue is the jumping is physics based, not height based, and so yeah, it'll be like a whole thing to calculate that. That's fine. But on buzz, let's update his gravity value a bit more. I don't know if we go up or down. We're just gonna go like 0.5 and just see what happens. If it gets like really hard to jump, then we know we have to actually increase the number. Okay, that works, but now we need to decrease the jump values, which is all good. Is that, man, I don't know. That like, it needs to like jump way slower and fall way slower. Like, was that like 9.86 meters per second on the fall? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to raise the height of this even more. And that's kind of close for what we're looking for, just real quick. But we are going to decrease the jump height. Do I keep track of max jump, main jump force, and double jump force? And we're just going to do a underwater jump force. There's like a lot of comments here. Hold on. A Skyrim remake. I mean, I would rather have Morrowind. But I mean, Skyrim. I still play Skyrim like every year or two. So like, it's a great game. I've probably bought it like 4 or 5 times as well. Though basically never at full price. Skyrim was one of the very last midnight events I ever went to, which I didn't even buy it. I just went with a friend, but I didn't think I would like it. I was way wrong on that. But yeah. How many tutorials do you suggest before venturing out into the wild? I cannot give a specific number because it all depends on your experience and how comfortable you are and how you are able to think like a programmer, with like this programmer mindset of, so yeah, I mean, it just kind of depends. When you feel like you have a grasp of the concept and then like start like writing down, okay, the way I think it would work is I need a trigger to know when to activate this thing, and then I need to be able to shoot a raycast, which is an invisible line, to check to see if something is far enough away, and then I can shoot. Whatever the feature is you're actually working on. Like start like trying to think of like it like a programmer, and that'll get a lot easier as you go along. But yeah. I don't know for sure, Larry. I've heard that casting the main character, like casting to Buzz, is okay because he's always loaded. You can't just like assume something will be loaded, because what if you do an open world game? It'll get despawned and respawned constantly, right? But I don't know how that works exactly. Casting is not going to destroy performance. There's this like big thing of like anti-casting. Casting is not going to destroy the performance of your game. That's like so far down the list of important things that it almost doesn't even matter. Don't do casting inside of like for loops, but because that's like where like for loops you may run like 54 loops in a single frame, right? In that case, it would impact performance. But like as far as like things that will hurt performance, casting is not up there. Especially if you're like don't do it every frame. If you just every once in a while just do a single cast or whatever. Yeah, it's not as bad as people act like it is. It's not best practice, but I mean, it's not like the lighting is gonna destroy the performance of your game way sooner. So yeah, that looked sort of awesome. It looked okay. I mean, I need to limit the jump height, and that's like a whole thing because of how I do jumping in this game. It probably isn't the best. But yeah. The thing is, the way I implement jump force is not super ideal. I have, what are we doing here? If we're swinging, we go that way. If we're not swinging, we check if we can jump. If we can jump, then we determine jump. And this is where we figure out the jump value and then actually apply the jump. So yeah, the thing is, I don't have a way to know if I am currently underwater or not, right? And I don't want to just make a Boolean. My hair is like all crazy now. I don't want to make just a Boolean to check for that, right? But I also don't really want a movement state specific for underwater, because the way I do states is you want to check to see if what you're doing could limit other things from being done. Like quicksand, you should not be able to ground pound while in quicksand. So like that actually limits a mechanic. So that's what this like state system is for.